A lovely good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV2. Of course, it is a Friday, and we made it. We're wrapping it up with a very eventful show, and of course it's been a very eventful week, so definitely it's going to be a jam-packed show right here. Do not forget, we're coming to you live on Topstar channel 110, and of course we're streaming live on our Facebook page, that is Prime TV2 Zambia, or you can just type in Ptv2 Zambia. And of course, my name is Rhoda Mlenga, but it's always great to be here with my colleague right here in the studio. Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning, Rhoda. Good morning, viewers. Of course, it's Friday, and Friday comes with the feel of relaxation. It
Absolutely.
comes with the feel of relief, because it's Friday. The weekend actually has begun. Yeah, and of course, on Prime TV Breakfast Show today, get rest assured that we'll still bring up the tough questions, the questions and the conversations that people fail to answer, but those are the ones that we'll always have on Prime Television Zambia too, because we are the home of breaking news. It's a heavy week.
It's been indeed a heavy week.
Yeah.
I think it's been a very, very eventful week. There's actually quite a number of stories that we've had, making headlines in our news. And of course, we will be looking at some of those great events that we did have this particular week. But how would you sum up your entire week?
My week has been, it has been a very good week. It's given me the mood of happiness, the mood of a bit of sadness, and the mood of it's month end, being broke and realizing that I get paid somewhere. So yeah, it gave me that, all those mixed emotions, and it gave me the feel that, I'm almost getting paid. I don't know, it's the month end. Yeah, so I had all, mixed feelings coming on board. But at the end of the day, and I got to learn that we don't call our men in uniform commando.
Okay.
No, we call them special forces.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, obviously, we'll be having some great conversations as well. But something that really caught my attention this morning on an international platform, you probably know that Aisha Speed was actually in Zambia a few weeks ago, and he's toured most of the countries in Africa. So something interesting is that Aisha Speed, one of the world's most popular content creators, is set to receive a Ghanaian passport following his highly anticipated trip to West African nation. So Ghana, of course, has welcomed him very well, and they think that he actually deserves a passport. I don't think it's just Zambians who play too much. I think Ghanaians
it's just
play too much as well. The entire continent plays too much.
Someone just coming to the country and exciting the country should not give you the leeway to say, okay, now this guy deserves. There's supposed to be certain credentials that you're supposed to, even just school. You can't just say because the minister today didn't have a degree, then he goes to Unza and donates chairs, then Unza starts, no, because of what the minister has done, we would want to present him with a degree in any course that he feels, No, it's not supposed to be like that. But anyway, it's excitement for them, and I don't know what international economic benefits that is going to bring to the state. I don't know what, really is tied behind that. If it's just entertainment, I think Zambians, we're not that playful. Have you met Ghanaians?
I know that, we talk about a young person who's really, really made a name for himself, but we're looking at the world's #1 YouTuber. I think the world is looking at education in a different way these days. A lot of people are looking at success in terms of the influence that you have, the money that you have as well. Somebody will not be educated today, but they'll have they'll have millions, they'll have billions, and they'll still be respected, and they'll have so much influence. So we're looking at a kid who is like an influencer in the Gen Z setup, you know. What are we, millennials?
As we're just younger men and women focused to the future.
We are millennials. And then there is the Gen Zs, the two pins. But anyways, we continue with our conversations. And of course, like we said, we do have a jam-packed and issue-driven show this morning. Yesterday, the country did witness the Kasama mayoral by-elections, and we will also reflect on its implications later in the program. We'll also be joined shortly by Ibrahim Mwamba, General President of the Southern African Students and Youth Development Association. Obviously, we're going to be having an interesting conversation with him because he does have a lot to say. And we will discuss youth leadership, political participation, and not forgetting the confusion rocking the Tonse Alliance and the wider opposition. As we have seen, there has been a lot of wrangles in the Tonse Alliance. But I'm pretty much sure you should be interested in that issue.
Tonse, they should change their name because it's not all of us. They're making it seem as if it's a collective Zambian thing, which is not supposed to be, which is not supposed to be the case.
Absolutely. And later on, we will host Titus Sichinga, aspiring member of parliament for Kabushi constituency on the Copper Belt, to talk about leadership, elections, and community transformation. We'll also cross over to Jeremiah Chalwe at the government complex for updates from the world of sports. So definitely you do not want to miss this particular show. And do not forget that you can always participate by sending us your messages and, of course, your contributions via our Facebook page, that is Ptv2 Zambia.
And, of course, you can send your message on the number 0972 036 306. That's 0972 036 306, or comment on our Facebook Live and also on our YouTube Live. We can also catch up anytime on our website, that is ptv2zambia.com. Let's begin today's weather update. What do we have for the weather? How probably you people are thinking, what should I wear today? How should I dress? Let's look at the weather update and let's update you on what's going on in the parts of the country.
I guess we are dressed accordingly for the weather. And of course, whatever part of the country you are in, definitely you know what to expect in terms of the weather and just the feel of the atmosphere out there. Dominic, what do we have in our money exchange?
This is what we have. So the dollar is buying at 19 kwacha 63 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 01 ngwe. The euro is buying at 23 kwacha 47 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 94 ngwe. And the Great British Pound is buying at 27 kwacha 11 ngwe and selling at 27 kwacha 61 ngwe. And we're buying the rand at 1 kwacha 25 ngwe, selling at 1 kwacha 27 ngwe. Those are the rates for today, and remember they vary from bank to bank. So we had for you in the money markets. Of course, those are your money markets. And now let's look at the stories that are making headlines. A 25-year-old man identified as Elias Tembo was arrested in Chipata for allegedly masquerading as a woman to leave men for monetary gain. As claimed, he was bewitched, claiming his physical features changed. Whoa, damn, colleagues. How do your features just change dramatically?
This story has sparked nationwide debate from cultural beliefs, to mental health and crime. It's not an easy thing to judge because even the family are actually confused about what is going on.
It's very crazy. But however, members from their villages, in the Mupenzeni area have dismissed the claims, stating that Tembo was born biologically male. But anyway, going forward, we're the home of breaking news, and we bring the conversations that people fail to talk about. Our reporter spoke about it and spoke to the family and the suspect, and this is basically what we have.
25-year-old Elias Tembo from Chigogo village was arrested in Chipata for posing as a woman, Rita Jere, to lure men for monetary gain. Tembo, who was dressed in women's clothing with plaited hair, was caught in Chipata while attempting to have sex with another man. This shocked a lot of people in the city, especially those who had sex encounters with him, insisting that they slept with a woman.
And the Europa and no dab maninga zawezo usiku mzua voices zinipasa mchemushi but futi na mabele futi zinaive ndani shikatima voices zinaive mchemushi nizoiwa but so hapa ni dab watu washika paso.
Relatives to Isaac, who married Tembo for a week, are also shocked with this.
Ezone kabunobuino mabere, nzena ayo bunobuino pa feshi, aone kabunobuino. Mairo panenda bakumabuchani ku polisi mairo nanauza ta nifuna ni believe nione zoona kuti ni mamuna oro ni mukazi because nenisiba kuti ni mukazi ndibana ngambata kasi mu checking eni so manje ndipetina mvula manje chitinge manje ndipetina checking ndiye kupeza kuti ni mamuna
kana zafuta nshyawo kwati ati nabwera mutosa namulanga nomulanga ine ndine nizoona neza mupyangisa kumubusa makopo kamutapisa amazi namusisa mambale ndine saba na kutashoko no
Tembo ni brother wangu so nimangomvera kutamara na masanduku ndeza mine nizibagwa but ine ngalipo mwapo live kuma nimangomvera chapeta tu kwa titi watachana
yakuto mwana wangu ndiye ndo sonto katyani yakutaye zwasanduke semana bana akuti ndo shaka kabalo mungu mwana bana ndani mwana bini mwana mpaka na wewe mkwala mpaka na mtoto za mtoto ulangampa ibana mpaka na hiyo mtoto za kijiji mboga mpaka na kasoe sio chinja sote
anapenda mamuna romba kuyeruga mukeruga ayanganga yeruga mkazi tauzino bwelabo
ama aruka bwanja nkala bwanja aruka bwanja nkala
hele kuone ngari mkazi ngari mkazi
na kuumuna kose
ngara wewe kumuna kose akala mkazi.
Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robertson Member says that Tembo will undergo medical tests to ascertain his true gender.
We are doing everything possible to see to it this so that this issue is put to rest. From here, we are getting in touch with the hospital so that doctors can give us whatever they are going to find. Then also we'll go to so-called Yakobe. I should think that is in Peasant area. Where the parents are. Also, we want to talk to the parents so that we can get a side of it.
Tembo remains in police custody as investigators in Chipata, Eastern Province.
All right, so that is one of the stories making headlines in our news, and it's kind of weird. And it's kind of strange that even the relatives are saying sometimes Mwamuna, sometimes Amasandukamkaz. But then, Dominic.
I am in limbo, and I don't know. Maybe we need a prophet because, this guy was born male. He was declared male from the hospital. So I don't really know how this came to pass or this happened, and at what point did they realize that this guy was changing. I think the mother should have the best information.
The mother is actually confused as well. The entire family is confused because they are saying sometimes the person is male, sometimes the person is female, and the neighbors as well, and people that have witnessed that particular situation. But some interesting stories in our comment section. Kana Kalesia says, the husband now when a suspect, how can he not tell that his so-called wife is a man? The ninja knew. And Jolie Mu says, so he went to Malawi for transformation. What a mystery. Somebody else says, does he use juju or what? Because even the entire family is confused. It's Rich Tembo says, so in which cell is he? Because Vamuna azasanduka mkazi.
And it's something that we don't know. Maybe what the, we should have gone deeper to ask the police, like,
maybe he needs to be on observation.
Observation cell, police. Could it male and female? Or could it be transgender cell?
Yeah. Anyways, tell us what you think in the comment section. Don't forget the name of the page is Ptv2 Zambia. Now, let's move on. New Congress Party President Peter Chanda has unveiled Makebi Zulu as the party's presidential candidate for the forthcoming general elections. Mr. Chanda says he has withdrawn his own ambition to allow the party to unite behind Mr. Zulu. Quite an interesting move from Peter Chanda. They are putting your own interests aside, so another person
Are we sure that it's his own interest put aside? It's not like Peter Chanda is a serious force in the political realm. No, it's not. It's not like he's been participating in every election and he's been getting good results. No, he's not. So we don't know. So so we cannot say he's putting his personal interest aside, selfish interests. We don't know. At the end of the day, winning does not mean that, especially in politics, winning does not mean that you should be in the forefront, because others win even in the background. So we don't know if his interests are honest, pure, and true, but only time will tell. But why does he give his party, gives the presidency to somebody else? It now makes me wonder of his moral stance and our belief in him as a person, firstly, and as a president, secondly, and as a leader. What type of a leader is he? What made him do that? So we need to see and understand those things. And we look at also the person that he's giving leeway to. Who is this person? What background does he have? What has he been doing? What's his, you need to do a background check and give a serious analysis. If it was in marketing, SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis.
Yes, that's what we need to do. Then we can make those statements. But of course, it's breaking and it's making headlines.
Yeah. So in case you missed it, here is something.
And I strongly believe that President Honorable Makebi Zulu, who is now announced as the presidential candidate for New Congress Party come 2026, will go sit down with his colleagues in the Patriotic Front and see how they can work together to ensure that we do justice to the Zambian people. So for now, I want to say that this was my special address for today. Thank you very much, unless there is a question.
All right, thank you so much. The former ruling Patriotic Front has dismissed the Tonsi Alliance as a breakaway group, insisting it does not represent legitimate PF structures. National Chairperson Jen Kapata says resolutions made by the alliance have no bearing on the Patriotic Front. Wow, this is quite very interesting. There's a lot happening in the Tonsi Alliance and in the alleged united opposition that is fighting against itself. Yesterday I read a statement that this gentleman who was a comedian from Manali, difficult, he says, the greatest opposition of the opposition, the greatest opposition in the opposition is the opposition itself. Because there's too much selfishness, too much enmity, and. So it's really a farce, and it's really an interesting sight to see. But the opposition needs to be united for the sake of the country and for the sake of accountability, for the sake of good checks and balances. We don't need an opposition that is not united. But let's see what Joseph Tamali has us in this report.
Themselves as true PF remnants vow to fight for the party and execute late President Edgar Lungu's Plan B for August elections.
They have since announced their presidential candidate for the August 2026 general election. The PF wishes all those that graced this event last night best of luck in their discourse. Meantime, we urge all the PF members in all the wards, constituencies, districts, provinces, structures to remain calm as we finalize the preparation for the General Conference by the end of February 2026, where the party shall elect the President, who shall be our flag bearer for August general elections. We further caution our members not to fall prey to hired people creating structures. They should not be misled to leave the PF bigger family or homesteads to roads that will go nowhere.
PF Matero MP Mauzi Sampa and former PF presidential running mate Professor Nkandulubo remain energetic and determined to see PF restored to its former glory.
And so even PF will fight, be it in Kabwe, in Lusaka. If it means going to appeals court, we'll go. If it means going to Supreme, we'll go. We are confident we'll get PF.
When you say, have you lost hope? We believe in positive energy. So we have no intention to keep busy and make ourselves miserable because we are promoting negative energies. We think that one day the Patriotic Front that had 2 presidents will be back to the people.
All right, so as most of you did see from that clip, that the PF National Chairperson, Jean Kapata, did emphasize or stressed that as far as the Patriotic Front is concerned, Mr. Mundubile, by participating in what the party views as a breakaway and parallel structure, has effectively expelled himself from the party. She also did urge PF members and structures to remain calm and united, warning against being misled into abandoning the party for what she termed individual ambitions, and reaffirmed that no single person is bigger than the Patriotic Front as preparations continue towards a duly sanctioned general conference, which obviously we're looking forward to.
Oh yeah, it's something quite very interesting. And of course, when we get to the newspapers, we're going to see those headlinings and we'll make interesting comments. And we hope the viewers are ready and watching so that they can also comment as we make comments in depth as we read and see what's going on in the newspapers, what's headlining. Yeah.
All right, now on a sad note, a 57-year-old woman of Mongu district has died in a hit-and-run accident along the Mongu-Kalawu road. Her family has appealed to police to bring the culprit to book. We do have the details, but we would like to warn our viewers that the report may contain disturbing images.
A day that began with promise in the community of Mongo's floodplains has ended in tragedy and tears. Sadly, 57-year-old Namasik Mukena lost her life in a road traffic accident on the Mongo-Kalabo Road around 20 hours. Namasik was struck by a speeding car in a hit-and-run incident as she made her way home from the neighboring village where she had been selling ropes. Witnesses in the community discovered the lifeless body of the deceased, prompting calls for justice from her grieving relatives.
Mota izwa kwa sena kwa Mungu ya Kalabo nolibona
ende minyevo
aito bunka mutu no maana usate tikimutu ebunki kuluforizi fabuka ofifani cheba kuna babako tikina nisikazi bunki fo sene wako ta abonete sawe mwendi baba baba sukumunya kanita chifali kwa kuti mwengo sababu isizefe fela kasamula ona ule moto sasa twanga kafa kwa kala kutoyema ngona kuti ndikusoza munye kamutu mutia chaba kuni saba yema ko nani akote niyobona utofumana motana yale yemi pali yale utofumana luli awa kibona masiku nutamucha wawo wakafa kuti bona masiku luli ina babonke kimoto ndakamoni sezi kazaka kumata yakate che ntodo tokwa hulu kabutunki kuli mota heyo luli kubata bataluli kuti libone luli kulibonale luli abakokulwatira abantu cyabo na wanga wa mata
basabi babatimezi kubona masikukene basabi bane ruinzi nibona mala pamanzi wani nibakubona abaferize fone basuri kule exami hala yabona ni touch abaferize babana akola mbalo balezi mwandu yaruno babasali ne ruli mwinti bakeni mwa haya no sazi biko bakutire ainyani fya to twasha yakuli kona masiku bahati weki moto kona mota yeo aizi bahali kikaho kulukupa kumina muso mapokola shangu mulutusi kuli mota yeo hati mutu yo ibona hali kakuli balusire mwa miyo alira lwabiraila.
They are urging the Zambia police to identify the driver responsible for this tragic incident.
Autofita koma 20 so twakuli bapokiwe kimota ale bayanausa yauti kutobona kaniti lori basinye hile iyi mota yona uskaibona ne ukupasa yakuli mapoko ababakere mota yebukira basaliva kuli ziba hali eni shangu kuli wanga tuli yabula ile manake nalo zivi ikifika kumubula ile kufika mota na wili kuna kwa mtu kwa mtu babakere kuna mandimani kwa.
Despite efforts to obtain a comment from the Zambia police, no further information was available at the time of this broadcast. Namaseku's body has been taken to Loanika General Hospital mortuary as investigations continue. For Prime TV News in Mango District, Marcus Bransakwita, report.
All right, it's very interesting and it's very sad that we should continue having these hit and runs. I have, when I was working in mass media, I was staying in Kalingalinga, a very highly populated area. And when such incidences would happen, what happens is that if you hit someone with the car, the public or the members of the community would come and, pounce on the car, break the car, beat you up, and maybe even kill you. So maybe a certain percentage of these people who hit and run fear this perception and fear this reality happening to them, because most of them run instead of picking up the person and putting them in the car, taking them to the hospital. The public now forgets to think about the casualty, but starts to think, oh, this person has done a very wrong thing, and they attack. And that is where we see drivers hit, then run, then they run to the police station to go seek refuge, and I feel we should change that notion so that people should be more responsible. But I'm not saying that's the reason why people should run or why they run. But I'm just also saying some of the things that happen around when certain things like this happen in our communities, which is not quite a good thing. Hit and run, I thought these things should not be in the minds of responsible Zambians. But going on forward, Rhoda, quite a lot has actually happened across the week and across the country. But let's see what is actually headlining in the newspapers this morning. Let's see what is trending. And we're looking at the first paper, which is the News Diggers. And this is what we have as the headline. We'll have a peaceful, credible elections. We'll have peaceful, credible elections, HH assures. The President Hakainde Hichilema is now assuring us, the Zambian people. Are you voting, by the way?
I'm definitely voting.
Where's your age? Where's your age? Where's your voter's card?
It's at home. You want me to be walking around with it?
We need to employ and fire some people.
I think that's a good headline. It's good that, the president has assured the entire nation. The president is like the father of this nation. So his words do come out really strong. It's a good thing that he's calling for. That is more like calling for unity and peace. We'll definitely have a peaceful election, meaning that he does have a plan to make sure that there will definitely be no violence or less violence, unless otherwise. But that's definitely a powerful statement.
But at what cost will we have a peaceful election? Is it at the cost of the UPNT? In Chawama, there was a very peaceful election. And the UPND lost.
What are you trying to say?
No. I'm just trying to be objective and ask, at what cost is that peacefulness coming? Are we saying that with what happened in Chawama, and with of course we're following what's going on in Kasama, but what happened in Chawama, the election was peaceful for the first time, and the way we knew the opposition and how reckless, how people were being beaten, how there was bloodshed everywhere, and how we had young men always just go to the gym. They had nothing to do but right check gym, you know. And that narrative and that perception was actually put to a standstill or reduced to a point where we saw different political players greet. We saw different political players exchange, take photos together with different symbols. Not that we did not have them in the Patriotic Front, we did, but we saw more of them in Chawama, a very tense place which we can call bedroom yaba PF, you know. And we saw this happening. So I'm now thinking, at what expense are we going to have this peace? It's a good thing, but is the president willing to let peace prevail, let Zambia prosper? Whatever happens, the people should decide in a peaceful way. But going on forward, we have a statement, power stability not linked to election, ZESCO. A very interesting statement that the Minister of Energy said, who is called the Minister of ZESCO, in Luampa.
He did say that, because I think most of us, I wouldn't exclude myself, most of us did think, because we're heading towards the elections, now load shedding has reduced. So probably he's just trying to emphasize on the fact that the situation is not actually linked to the elections.
And he
what would we think? We're heading, this is an election year, and power has been restored.
He said that the way you journalists have been talking about the load shedding, start to preach and talk about the power supply, you know, talk about the longevity in the hours of power, talk about them, because that's our job as journalists also. And you know, as journalists, we also contribute to the frustrations of the country. We contribute to the violence of the country in what we choose to report. We, at this particular point, these questions that we are having should have been answered by ourselves, because there are quite a number of developments that the government has been working on, and the president even mentioned to say by December, things are going to be okay. They were just launching a solar plant by NRDC badge, you know, and these things are being seen. Of course, we're heading into a campaign period, but these are things that are happening, and these are things that are making certain things come out and be what they are. Of course, an election period, maybe it was planned that way, but development is not what is not. Development is a process. Yes, it's not an event. So, of course, they were in power. They entered into power. Now we're about to fire or elect them. So they were in there for 5 years. Now, from that, what have they been doing? Of course, we don't expect those things to would have happened or happened pamene pajano. So it's not an event; it's a process.
Is that also saying that maybe the developments that have been happening during this time should be loud as you know, when we had quite a number of challenges? Because I think when we had problems in terms of load shedding, there was enough reports, like, you know, how it affected businesses, how it affected the entire country. But also we need to acknowledge the fact that load shedding has reduced. And it's a good thing. Businesses are picking up, but maybe we're not being as loud as we should be, that we are back to.
The thing is that...
But also, it's a normal thing, so it shouldn't be like, oh...
Those things is that the people, you know, we as journalists, we are able to create a perception, and we as the media are able to contribute to a lot of things. At the time when load shedding was at its peak, of course, the opposition came in on board and was just talking about the bad effects happening to the people. we needed the opposition to say, we know you have plans of opening a plant by NRDC, but we've got a report from China and our people are saying this, that if you want to make, we know you want to make it 20 chan yoko. Please don't make it 20, you can make it 60 megawatts by doing ABCD and ABCD. That's being an objective opposition. Not just saying, no, people are suffering. No. What is your job when you come there? Let's see what you want, what you have to offer. Of course, we can't all lead at the same time. So show us that, one, you're understanding. Show us that you're mature enough to say, okay, it's not my time now, it's someone else's time. But my job and my duty is to offer checks and balances, not just talk about the bad things. And of course, we as the media also love to report what the opposition do, what not, and that's what has been carrying the day. Such that now, Malai Tiambo Buera, Tambo Dab, you see, we needed to understand these things from way back, so that we even have an estimate to say, no, when power goes, when power stabilizes, we see an increase of what? Of units in power. Because when we complain that, no, Malai Tiambo Buera, but yes, see, so we needed to have these reports way back. If we had an objective opposition, they would have been telling us, this is how we are moving the right track. Yes, government stands so, but a foot new onati, visachitika so please, before vichitike government, do this, or change something about it. That's being objective. But what are they talking about? Nothing. Tribalism, what? Now we are failing to even bury a former head of state. Oh, individual.
How long has it been again?
It's been 200 and something days. It's not supposed to be. Now it will be now you crack as the world record. I mean, the record in Zambia, the longest man not to be buried. You see, which is not a good thing for a former head of state.
Yeah.
That is a respectable office. You know, we need to talk about respect, good things about him, not such things. We should not remember him for such things.
Yeah.
But that's the opposition that we have today. And in the mass newspaper, change is coming, says Jean Kapata. PF is intact. Okay. Mundubile considered himself expelled. Wakamba wajenate. PF is intact. But we don't see the intact.
We really don't see that. The intactness.
The intactness. But the intacticity. It's a Friday, we can make some certain words. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, the only people who are intact in the PF are the supporters, not the leaders. Now it's difficult for the supporters to now choose who to support as a leader.
Exactly.
You know, and Mundubile now says, trust me with national unity, when they can't even...
when we can't even trust them to be united.
They can't be united, but they want us to trust them. You know, then we have a statement here that says the Kwacha gain won't translate to lower pump prices. So now, this is, let me just try to explain something in a layman's language. And I think it would be very interesting for us to have someone on board that we can interview who actually, when the dollar goes up and down, they have a direct feel of actually what is or how the thing is feeling. So, when the dollar, when the Kwacha gains, you know, and let's say, this is what happens in the dynamics of economics from a layman's language. If, for example, sugar was supposed to increase with 10 kwacha, you know, maybe it increases. But because of the gain of the dollar, sizashita increase na 10 kwacha, sizashita increase na chan, maybe 1 kwacha or 15 kwe because of the gain. So the translation is not felt at that particular point of view or pamene paja. That's why it's on a dollar ekwera ikugwa. But we're not feeling it pamene hapa. But we've got other people that feel it. For example, like those that are car dealers who, you know, when the dollar goes up, goes down, our small young people in the business of buying and selling. At least those people, at least for them, it's direct, you know. But let's go forward and see the Daily Nation newspaper. We see the same headline, Munduvile staged his own expulsion. Then, you know, again, we have Zambia not against any powerful nation. That was HH. We've also got the minister, of course, again. It's also headlining. Chikoto tells off load shedding noisemakers. Of course, he needs to tell them off, you know. He needs to tell them, panga chongo, katulipe malaiti. Manji malaiti ya buera, panga ni chongo. They're quiet. It's not supposed to be like this. Then we also have looking at the daily newspaper, HH assures credible pause. Of course, this is something that we have actually talked about and seen in the other headlining newspapers. Then we also